Next, let's talk about the impact of school. In Adler's time, after discovering his theories of inferiority and superiority, he really wanted to help more children grow up in a healthy way. However, he found that those parents who need help the most never engage in any learning. This feels just like today. The more chaotic the family, the less time parents have for learning, or they keep using wrong methods, like violence. The greater his life pressures became, the more he resisted learning. If he hadn't resisted learning in his early years, he wouldn't have ended up in such a bad state. Back in the 1920s, people were struggling just to survive, so Adler believed it was impossible to help all parents. This was the policy he set at that time. He stated that helping all parents was unachievable because everyone was busy trying to earn a living and support their families. How could you help them learn when they couldn't even meet their basic needs? So, Adler shifted his strategy to schools. He said that while he couldn't help all parents, he could help all teachers. By training teachers with a psychology background, he hoped they could heal the wounds from childhood and help children connect with society later. Today, I think this view has changed. Even teachers are incredibly busy, occupied with lesson planning and dealing with inspections. They are already exhausted, and expecting them to find time to read these complex books may be unrealistic. But parents are different. I've found that when parents hear the right methods, some cry, some confess their mistakes, and some realize they need to change. As a result, many parents completely change after reading just a few of our books. I believe that today, our focus should be on families, helping more parents understand how to take on the responsibility of educating their children. This is different from Adler's time. So, let's go back to school. What should a good school be like? Adler said that teachers must do what mothers should do, connect with the kids and show genuine interest in them. A child's future adaptation depends on the interest adults show in them. Teachers must avoid being harsh or punitive. In Adler's education system, harshness and punishment are big no-nos because they make it hard for children to communicate and connect with teachers. Why do those bad kids excel in lying or getting involved in troublesome activities but refuse to stay in school? Are they unintelligent or dumb? Not at all. The difference in intelligence between individuals is minuscule. Once a child starts rejecting school, seeing it as a dreadful place, they'll come up with all sorts of ways to avoid it. They lose the chance to connect with others. The worst thing adults can do is criticize or blame them, which just confirms that their feelings about school are right. To engage a child, a teacher should understand the child's past interests and help them believe they can succeed in those interests and others. When a child feels confident in one area, it's easier to motivate them in others. This is the same idea we talked about in the Go-To Mom's Parent's Guide to Emotion Coaching and Raising a Thinking Child, and what we covered in our leadership course about secondary feedback. The most important opportunity to educate a person is when they do something right. When you genuinely pay attention to them, acknowledge their correct actions, and provide them with sufficient affirmation, their self-esteem will be elevated. When a child's self-esteem is high, it becomes much easier for them to improve in other areas because they believe they can learn and grow. But what about our current schools? Adler said that the educational system of his time, the 1930s, was almost the same as today. In the current system, referring to the 1930s, kids enter school more prepared for competition than for cooperation. The whole school experience is geared towards competition, which is unfortunate for children. If they strive to beat others, their unhappiness is just as great as if they fall behind and give up. In both situations, they're only interested in themselves. Their goal isn't to contribute or help others, but about the relentless pursuit and taking without considering the consequences. Some teachers even go as far as telling kids that studying is solely for money and having attractive partners. They emphasize that studying is about gaining more power and achieving fame for their family. They push the idea that if you don't get into top universities like Peking University or Tsinghua University, your life is doomed. Adler's insight here is deep. If a child succeeds with this mindset, they might end up more hurt. They'll believe that they can only be successful by defeating others. Missing out on the value of cooperation. There are many people with high emotional intelligence and great skills who might not excel academically, but still make significant contributions to society. They could build big businesses, do charity work, or be great teachers. But we often mistakenly believe that only getting into college matters. This is a typical short-sighted behavior. As you can clearly see, this short-sightedness harms children's ability to collaborate effectively. So in a school, the core is the teacher's cooperation with the kids. It's about genuinely paying attention to each child, connecting with them, and showing them the joy and power of cooperation through conversations. This is what makes a good teacher. Not being high and mighty, just like the father's authority at home, a teacher being high above everyone, where the solution is just to tell the teacher about problems, leads to creating fighters instead of cooperators. Teachers should approach children with humility, engage in equal dialogue, and genuinely care about each child's future. They should pay attention to the strengths and qualities of every child. When children experience this, they will treat others the same way, knowing how to cooperate even without being a class leader.